Really.
Okay, great.
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. It's Chinese New Year here in Beijing.
Happy New Year.
Oh, thanks.
So, firstly, I want to thank you for accepting my request and accepting to talk with me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for talking with me.
So, I thought to introduce you to my audience. So, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, hi, I'm Rebekah Lorraine, and I'm actually also a YouTuber. I have a channel called Everything Rebekah Lorraine, and I'm also a writer, and my book is Pendant of the Golden Rose. It's a fantasy novel, and currently I live in Beijing, China, and I'm a teacher over here, but obviously I'm not from China. I'm from the US originally, from North Carolina.
So, you're a author, married author, and entrepreneur.
Yeah, I also I've started an education business called A Messy Classroom, and it's an educational website, amessyclassroom.com, and so that's my entrepreneurship. Currently, I'm kind of phasing between teaching class full time and phasing into working full time on that website as my like real job.
So, you're a teacher.
Yes, I taught in the U.S. in North Carolina, and now I'm teaching in Beijing.
So, what subject?
I teach elementary school, so I'm actually licensed to teach all of the subjects, kindergarten through sixth grade. I primarily teach reading.
So, you said you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business.
Yeah, A Messy Classroom is my educational website.
In which, what subjects you will tell?
So that website is also for elementary kids right now. I'm the only one working on it right now, so it's slow. I just started it last year, so it's right now it mostly just has resources for young children, but my goal is to at one point have project-based learning is my passion. So my goal is to have project-based learning activities for everywhere from birth to high school, basically for kids, so that they can really have fun with learning and enjoy learning. Because I love learning still. Like, I'm a lifelong learner and I want that passion to exist in children. And I notice in elementary school, around third grade, kids start to lose that passion for learning because it becomes more like take this test and test and just remember this information, and it's not fun anymore. So I especially want to make sure that the upper grades get that fun hands-on stuff. So I also write books for that, but like I said, I just started it last year, so it's still in its baby steps right now. So because a lot of younger kids are still homeschooled when they're younger. That's why I started with the younger resources, but then I'm hoping to move up to the older kids as well.
So, should I call you American teacher or Chinese teacher?
Well, I don't teach Chinese. I just teach Chinese kids. So I guess I mean my license is from America. My teaching license is from America. I've taught in both countries though. I think I'm just a teacher. Does it matter where you're from? It's a
I mean,
global mindset, you know. I think like it doesn't matter where you're from, really.
when you moved from US to China.
5 years ago, so I've been here for a while, but actually, I think next year we're gonna move back. We like traveling a lot. We've been to several places in Asia, not India yet, unfortunately, but we've been to Cambodia. We absolutely loved Cambodia. Bali, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and my husband and I really like traveling. So I think we'll go back to the U.S. for a bit, but then maybe go to Brazil. I don't know. So I'm a world teacher. I'll just teach everywhere.
So, what is the difference that you observed in teaching in US and in China and in kids, different cultural kids you will be watching?
Yeah, so in the US, I taught at a Title IX school, which for people who don't know, that's like a low poverty school. And when I came to China, I taught at a private school. So obviously there was a big difference in the resources available to the kids. But as far as the overall learning culture, I feel like in the US, there was less of a desire for homework. I've noticed in China, a lot of the parents are like, give them more homework. And that's one of the biggest things that's been a problem for me because actually research does not show that homework is very effective. So it's been an issue with me with trying to make the parents happy, but then also knowing like you're just like torturing your kid with all of this homework. Like just let them play. Let them play. So I've been trying to like come up with a fun homework so the parents will be happy because they have homework, but the kids can like do something fun. Like go around your house and make a video of all the furniture in your house because we were reading about furniture. So try to make it fun, but I think that's one of the biggest things I've noticed. And then obviously, like I said, because I taught at a high poverty school in the US and then I taught at a private school in China, I think that those are almost incomparable as far as the country is concerned because the resources, I don't know what a private school in the US is like. So they might be very similar to a private school in China. So I wouldn't want to compare those because it was obviously a stark difference between what the kids were having to deal with. Like at my school in the US, I had a kid come in one day and the mom brought the kid in and was like, he might be upset today because he saw his cousin get shot on the front steps. Whereas in China, it's like, oh, we just went to a private island, and so he might be tired because he didn't sleep well last night because we just flew back on our private airplane to from our island. Like, very different issues that they are dealing with. So, not very comparable on that aspect.
You are a human being and you are into three jobs. You are a married woman and you're a wife and you are a entrepreneur, businesswoman, and you are into teaching. So how you are managing all these three?
And I'm a writer.
Yeah, you're a writer, you're an
Yeah.
author.
Um, I I have an issue focusing, so it's actually fine for me because I can't focus on one thing. I'm what happens when that kid with ADHD grows up and becomes an adult, and it's like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And it's like all of these things. So I'm 30 and I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. With the YouTube channel, I've recently like gotten very serious about that because I realized I enjoy making videos as well. So I think I just like the creative aspect. So anything creative really appeals to me. And I think the part about teaching, why I'm shifting towards an educational website and creating the materials for that is because of the creative part, where with teaching, you also have the not fun part of like submitting lesson plans and getting yelled at by parents and getting yelled at by principals and giving tests and all that stuff that's not as fun. So that's why I'm kind of shifting towards dedicating more and more time to my website because that's more of the stuff that I enjoy, which is the creative part of like writing leveled books for that, thinking of fun activities and how can the kids learn this but in a fun way, and how can they get their hands dirty, because it's called A Messy Classroom because I think the kids should make a big mess and that's how they should learn. That's also, I have fun doing that. So that's my downtime. Like on my downtime, I'm like, let me write a novel as like my relaxing thing. Like that's how I have fun. I also, I guess, neglect other things that I should be paying attention to. So like I don't cook. So
So you said you are a continuous learner. You said you are a continuous learner. So you're not satisfied with what you have.
yeah, I think I always like a challenge. So I always like to learn new stuff. And when I'm not creating something myself, I like to be learning something or learning a new skill. Yeah, I believe in lifelong learning. Like I think it keeps life interesting to always be building and not grow stagnant in just with what you know. And also even with your like worldview, like I like to expose myself to other people's opinions about important issues because I want to also like grow as a person and constantly be changing and adjusting what I believe in who I am depending on new information. And so I think growing your skills and growing who you are as a person is helps you to have a more fulfilled life and not basically grow bored with life.
So as an educator, how many marks will you give to yourself out of 10?
How good of a teacher am I?
Yeah.
Uh, it depends. I think I'm really good at making fun lessons, but I'm not so good at um organizing my paperwork. Like my desk is the like really bad in the teacher room when you walk in and you see all these like nice organized desks and then you see mine and it looks like something exploded on it. Um so as far as the paperwork and keeping up with stuff like that, I'm not very good. I tend to get good growth, especially in reading from the children. So I guess it depends on what metric you're using. Um, so I usually get over a year's growth in reading, sometimes 2.5 years. Um, so I guess it would depend on how you're scoring. I don't know. I wonder what the kids would rate me actually. I did give them a survey one time, but it wasn't out of 10. It was just different things about what I could improve. So, and I think overall they rated me pretty high. So I don't know. I guess I'd give myself a 7. I definitely know teachers that are better than me, and I have like teacher crushes on mentor teachers, or I'm like, you're just amazing, and I wish I could like be as good as you. Like some teachers, like they like will watch a kid for a little bit and they'll immediately know like what their issue is and like what's holding them back and I think that's awesome and amazing. I think that also one of the reasons I'm shifting towards my educational website is because the day-to-day grind of teaching sometimes wears on me emotionally, especially when you know something's good for a kid, but you can't make that thing happen. Like if something is going on at home, or if you do know that they need, especially in China, you asked earlier one of the big differences. In the US, if a kid had a learning disability, um, there was a recourse you could do. There was stuff that you could do to help them to get what they needed. When you're the general ed teacher, you don't have the time to dedicate to them one-on-one. But in China, parents do not want to hear that their kid has any kind of learning disability, and there's a big pushback, and there's not a lot of programs to help them with that. So, especially in China, like if you know that this kid needs this thing, like they have a speech impediment or they're dyslexic and they need such and such, and there's not a lot you can do to make that happen. So then that wears on you emotionally. And I think sometimes I get burnt out with that. But yeah, sorry, didn't have a complete thought there.
So you taught kids. What kids taught you?
Oh, kids have taught me a lot. Like I said, I like to be a life, especially in China. They taught me Chinese. um, Kids have taught me a lot. They've taught me to be more flexible and patient And I keep up to date on the latest trends because I teach children. So I know like the cool stuff that's out right now. And yeah, especially in China, like I said, they've taught me a lot about the Chinese culture through the children and a little bit of Chinese. And when I was in the U.S., I taught at a predominantly Hispanic school, so I also learned some Spanish um, and a little bit about their culture. So I think that's great. I think the learning exchange should always be open between kids and adults. Kids, and they're so creative too.
So what is your teaching style?
I am more student centered. However, sometimes I'm forced to not be that depending on what school you're working at. So it's kind of a balance between what you want to do as a teacher and what your school is telling you to do, which is another reason why I'm shifting towards doing more and more towards my educational website where it's just what I want to do and what I see that research says I should do. I'm very open, like I said, I'm very open to changing my mind about things depending on what the research shows and depending on new information. So I used to actually focus less on phonics, but then I read some more recent studies about phonics. So I can see the benefit in a phonics program so long as it's taught within a context. So I'm definitely always open to learning more about teaching and changing depending on what the research shows works the most effectively. And but overall, I like to do what I like to be student-centered learning and let them drive the direction of the class. And in a dream world, every kid could be like, I'm interested in this, and then just pursue it. And I would just give them the resources to pursue that because that's actually how they would grow the best. But the resources needed to do that aren't always available in a school.
So educator, you're educator. So how much education you gave in your entire life to the world?
How much have I given or how much
Education.
have I get?
Yeah, you gave your
How much did
contribution.
I don't know. I've been teaching for this is my 11th year. I'm older than I look. um, so and I guess I've taught a lot of kids. I don't know how much I've of an impact I've left on the world. Sometimes I guess that's something that you see later in life, or if you meet a student on the street and then I do know there's at least one kid who I know I had a major impact on because he let me know. It was a troublesome kid who everyone else was like was always the teachers were getting in fights with this kid. And I'm very much like, why are you wasting energy fighting with a kid? So I don't like to fight with kids. I don't know if you've heard of Love and Logic, but it's a kind of a discipline behavior program. And it's basically like there should be logical consequences, and punishment it should be used as a teaching thing and not so much as a like, we're trying to get you. Like, if the adults are like, I'm trying to get back at this child, like, I mean, why are you wasting your energy on that? And also, you're a teacher. Are you really trying to, like, have revenge on the child? Is that what you're using discipline for? So it's more of a discipline is used to teach and to instruct type of philosophy. So with that particular kid, I was able to connect with him because I didn't get into fights with him. It was kind of strange how many teachers got into fights with this student. Not fist fights, obviously, but like verbal fights with this student. So, and I know like at the end of the year, he wrote me a really sweet letter about like how he felt heard in my classroom and stuff like that. So I know at least one kid I made a difference. Yeah.
So you are already good in giving your knowledge, and you're already very good in taking the knowledge from the kids. So what made you to become a writer, and you want an outlet?
Yeah, so I've always been very interested in writing, and from second grade, I was writing stories. And in second grade, I actually wrote a series about cats. It was terrible. But I've always like seen stories in my head, and I've had like different, it's very, very easy for me to think of ideas. Sometimes people are like, where did you come up with that idea? And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, my brain is insane. So like, especially with like the fantasy, I started with fantasy because I love to read fantasy. I like to either read fantasy, sci-fi, or complete nonfiction. I'm not big on like realistic fiction because I'm like, oh, I can just live that, you know? I'd rather it be like completely crazy or it actually happened. I don't like so much like it could have happened, but it didn't. But I like to write everything, actually. Like I said, I have no focus. It's very difficult for me to focus on something. And so I like to write all sorts of genres. I write poetry. I was recently published in a Shanghai poetry zine. And I also like to write fantasy and nonfiction. And I don't know, I write everything. But I've just always been very interested in writing, and I've just always written. Like I've just always done it, and it just kind of happens. And sometimes I'll just be in the middle of the night and I'll wake up and I'll have to write stuff down. So it just like pours out of me, and I don't really get writer's block. But sometimes I hate what I wrote and then I have to like redo it. But I always am able to put something on the paper. But sometimes later when I go back and read it, I'm like, that was not good.
So there will be a lot of kids from different parts of the world will be watching this video. What do you say to them?
Kids?
Yeah, kids.
I think just okay, what do I say to kids? About my book or about just life in general? I think I would have wanted to be told as a child that you don't have to decide as a child what you're going to be when you grow up. And I think that is something that, especially when kids start to get a little bit older, they're kind of pressured to like decide, make big decisions quite early on. And also, like, if you do make that decision, it's okay to change your mind later and be flexible. And you're also, if I was speaking to children right now, I'd be like, make sure you're enjoying your childhood. You can be an adult for the rest of your life, and it's not that great, honestly. Like, be a child, go play outside and have fun and be a child for a bit. And you can make those major life decisions down the road. You don't have to feel pressure when you're young. And don't let outside forces pressure you and take your childhood away. I'm definitely not speaking from personal experience.
So what do you say to their parents?
I think the same. I try to always encourage parents to let their kid be a kid. And I do think, especially in China, I've noticed that's because they do care so much about education, which is awesome. They also do kind of put a lot of pressure on the kids, especially when the kids start to get older, like third grade and higher. They start to put more and more pressure on the kids. And, you know, it's okay if your kid doesn't grow up to be a doctor. They might become a millionaire doing YouTube. Like, you have no idea what their passion is and what's going to make money. So just because doctor has made money for people in the past doesn't mean that's what your kid's meant to do. Like, I had one kid who she was only in second grade and was the absolute most amazing drawer for a second grader. And even like, she drew better than me and she was only in second grade. I was like, you need to be an artist. Like, if your parents make you become a lawyer, that's a crime to humanity. Like, so you never know what someone's passion is. And as a parent, don't try to force a kid to be what you think they should be. You know, give them the opportunity to explore and change their mind for themselves and decide what they want to be.
What are the common mistakes that parents do?
I think there's all sorts of different parenting styles, and I've witnessed them all. Like, I've witnessed parents who are doing awesome, and like I feel like they should write books because like they've have multiple kids and they're all just amazing, and I'm like, wow, you should write a parenting book because whatever you're doing, it is working. I think a balance between spoiling them too much and like being too controlling, balance is always the best thing with parenting. So anything that you do, there's lots of different ways to do it, but whatever you do, it should be balanced. So you don't want to control them too much, but you also do not want to spoil them because they also don't turn out well if they're allowed to do whatever they want. Like I taught a kid who basically was allowed to decide whether or not she wanted to go to school, whether or not she wanted to hit people. Like the parent didn't have any kind of structure for that child at all. And they were always like, yeah, well, we want her to be creative and we don't want to use negative words with her. And they don't turn out very well when you do that. Kids want some structure because they don't know. They're a child. They don't know how to structure their day themselves. But then also, on the other hand, you don't want too much structure where the kid has no freedom and no flexibility. I think balance, like with anything in life, is always the best parenting style. And there's lots of ways to balance. I've seen lots of different successful parenting styles. Just so long as you're not on either extreme, that's the best way to go.
Do you have any favorite student in US or China?
No, I love them all equally. I've had favorites, and but I do have definitely some where I've like they've been very stressful for me. In the end, I really, really do like kids, so I don't have any where I've been like, oh my gosh, that kid. But there's some where there's definitely been like quite a challenge. And then there's somewhere I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to adopt you. So I'm not gonna lie, yeah. I think every teacher has somewhere they're like, this kid's awesome. And it's funny which kids they are because sometimes it's not always the best behaved kids that you're like, I love this kid. Sometimes it's like the most creative one or I had one that honestly like never listened and never did his work, but he was so hilarious. Like every day he would have everyone laughing. So yeah, I've had some that I've liked more than others, but in the end, I like kids, so I've always liked all of the kids. This last class that I taught, I really genuinely liked every single kid in that class, and it was really hard to stop teaching that class because I was like the dynamic of that class was so good, and they all worked well together. My first class that I taught was also like that. Like everyone in the class kind of worked well together. So it was like a lucky class where there weren't any that were like constantly spatting with each other.
So what are your future plans?
So right now, like I said, I am still teaching, but my goal is to shift away from full-time teaching, and I want to do I have a couple of things going on. So I'm doing A Messy Classroom, which is my educational website, and I want to make more resources for that and hopefully hire some people to help me with that once that starts to make a little more money. I have finished the sequel to Pendant of the Golden Rose, but I am not releasing it yet because the stuff that I wanted to do to launch it, I can't do with the pandemic. So I'm going to actually wait to release the sequel until this craziness in the world is over. So I can do some of the like creative ideas I had for launching the sequel for that. And next week I'm going to a poetry reading where I will be reading some more of my poetry. And I have been working really hard on my YouTube channel, which is called Everything Rebekah Lorraine, and I have various videos on there about living in China and traveling, and I also have story videos where I review books and where I talk about my own literature, and poetry videos, as well as I make videos with The Sims and kind of tell a story using The Sims gaming. So if that's interesting to anybody, they can subscribe to Everything Rebekah Lorraine on my YouTube channel.
So, Pendant Golden Rose, what it is?
So Pendant of the Golden Rose, it is about a nymph princess, and she is accused of murder. And in that society, she has to in that society there are wizards, and they are actually discriminated against because they are half mortal and half magic. So she actually ends up running into this renegade wizard that has run away from the academy, which is kind of like a brainwashing place to make wizards fall in line. And so he has run away from there, and this nymph princess, Saria, has run from the palace because she's been accused of murder, and they kind of have to work together. So even though he hates the royals because they have this establishment which is basically discriminating against wizards, and she is a royal, they kind of have to work together to clear her name, and then stuff ensues from there. Don't want to give away too much. There's some murder mystery. There's a bigger mystery going on about why the murder was committed in the first place, and it's a series that will be at least 3 books and possibly 5 books.
So, at last, any good words?
Thank you very much for interviewing me, and I'd love to come visit India one day. That's on my list of places to go. Where should I go in India?
I live in South India. There are a lot of places in India.
Yeah, I know there's lots of places in India. Yeah.
If you want to go to the place where the climate is very cold, you have to go to Kashmir. And if you want to go to the place it is extremely my state is like middle. It will be hot and it will be cold. You can the best place. So there are a lot of places. My city is very good city. I live in Hyderabad. You can come to this city. This is very good. You can see a lot of things. Lot of history, historical monuments, and in Agra, you can go to Delhi, North India. So there are a lot of places, and you can go to Rajasthan, you can go to East India. You have a lot of different cultures. India is collection of different cultures, so you will see different things in different places.
Yeah.
So I'll put all your links in the description of this video, your YouTube channel and your website and your Twitter, everything. People who wants
Okay,
to
I'll send them to you
connect
on
and I
chat.
can see. Yeah, I will
Okay.
update it. Yeah. And have you seen at last? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Yeah, I found your YouTube channel and I subscribed. Did you see that I subscribed?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
So what have you seen any videos before coming?
I was watching the one with the old guy. Which one was I watching? I have it off now. But the I think it's the last one you uploaded. Is that the one with the guy? There was one with a guy that I was starting to watch, yeah.
Yeah, he's an author.
Yeah. I didn't quite finish that video yet.
Okay. So what do
And
you
he was
say as an observer? As an
yeah.
observer, me talking with different country people and who are into different professions, what is your personal feeling about it?
I think that's a great idea. I love the idea of of like engaging with other cultures.
So thanks for coming to my show and spending your valuable time and telling me about yourself and about your work and about what you did and what world gave to you.
Yeah, thank you.
So can I put this video on my YouTube channel, on social media, on
Of
internet,
course,
on
yeah.
podcast with your permission?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for coming
Okay,
and
thank you.
keep doing what you love and keep going, keep learning.
You too. I look forward to seeing more videos.
Thank you.
Okay. All
Bye.
right, bye.